The Milan-San Remo, what a glorious destination. On most days, I think you might say. The Italian Riviera, how nice. Well, Saturday was the original day. They moved it to Sunday, and they kind of moved away from the sunshine, I've got to tell you. We're already underway, and racing will be heading live in just a few moments' time for the 104th running of the great race. And so here we are, the sunshine of Saturday and the rain of Sunday. Not only rain, we've got snow for you. Welcome. I was going to say a warm welcome to the Milan-San Remo, but it's anything but. 10 Celsius, cloudy, raining, snow showers have caused some interruptions earlier on today. This is what we're dealing with, or indeed should have been dealing with a little bit earlier on today. The Torcino was bound to be the opening test of the day, but the race was halted about there. They got on buses, and they will not be getting back on the bike until we're beyond the Meni, where traditionally this race explodes into action. The Cipressa and the Poggio are still there to be contended with. 298 kilometres, well, it's an awful lot shorter than that. Milan and the celebration of all things Irish. St Patrick's Day, of course, last night. They lit up the castles, and then the sun rose this morning somewhere behind the cloud, and the riders signed on for, well, what would they be signing on for today, Dan Lloyd?
Well, little did they know exactly what they were going to be signed on for. For once, the predictions of bad weather came perfectly true. The riders have been tweeting about the possible weather conditions today for a long time. The forecast even 4 or 5 days ago suggesting that there could be snow at some point during the course, and as we'll see a little bit later on, that is exactly what they had to contend with. And I'm sure even at this point, despite the fact they knew they were in for some bad conditions, they certainly didn't know what they were going to come up against.
Well, Vincenzo Nibali, who we just saw there, Gilbert just signing on, we've seen him wrapped in blankets. Nibali saying he was going to cause tears today. Not sure whether they were tears of joy or indeed of mirth, perhaps, or, yes, of sadness. Who knows? By the way, they rolled, and Mark Cavendish there, as you can see, with the wet weather gear, the winter gear, arm warmers, leg warmers, absolutely everything else to the fore today. One thing that could not be certain was the weather before we came here. It's what springtime is all about. Sometimes it blows, sometimes it rains. Well, today we've had just about everything. Some huge names have come along to this great race. It is always the same. That's the one thing you can be sure of, is that nothing is certain here, but the big names will come. Them off a little bit earlier on today, just little warnings of some slippy surfaces as they exited Milan. The none too small matter, at least at the start today, of 298 kilometres to be dealt with, and as you can see, there was no great hurryment early on in some of the neutralised zones. Some very, very tricky corners to be taken, even at this speed, Dan.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than trying to dodge over small tram lines, which are exactly the same. Oh, as you can see, yeah, one of the riders almost coming off straight away in the neutralised zone, as Sepp Van Mark did in Tirreno Adriatico. But those tram lines are almost always exactly the same width as your tyres, so the last thing you want to do is get one of your wheels trapped in it, because you're going to come immediately off.
So to kilometre 0, and as you can see, a brief hiatus as well. Finally they decided to get us underway, and it was not long before we had our escapees, who showed their hand pretty early. Speeds were extremely quick earlier on this morning, Dan.
Yeah, it took a little while, I think, for the break to establish itself. Eventually we got 6 riders up the road, and I'm sure they're going to come on our screens in just a few moments' time, and we can go through exactly who made the early breakaway of the day.
The balance is terrible, I can't. Well, after some early skirmishes, it did settle down. Diego Rosa, a young rider who did well in the Mediterranean earlier on this year. Yes, he dragged along some hopefuls out front with him. Matteo Monteguti it was that joined him, Pippo Fortin as well from Bardeni Valvole, Maxim Belkov from Katusha, Lars Bak from Lotto Belisol, and I can tell you Lastras as well has joined them. So it was a reasonable quality up front, I think you might say, not least Monteguti, of course, who third on the stage of the Tour of Switzerland. And yeah, if you want somebody who's had Tour success, then Lastras is your man from Movistar. Yes, looking very, very handy. Stage winner on every single one of the Grand Tours that he's contested. And so a likely ally out front today.
Yeah, this is the breakaway here now, just establishing itself. I think it went after around about 30 kilometres, so it's quite rare that we actually get to see all of this jumping about that occurs at the start of every single bike race. Generally, the bigger race, it takes longer for the break to establish itself. You can see Lars back there in the Lotto Belisol colours. He's actually got a kind of a crud guard, as we used to call him in mountain biking, on the back of his saddle to stop the spray going up his back, basically, and just something that you rarely see in cycle races, that sort of thing. Heinrich Hauser is one that always, in training, has the things on his back like that.
And this is what we hit. Heading for the Tocchino, and the snow came down, and race organisers, well, I know this is not supposed to be an easy race, but this was just too difficult, and in fact downright dangerous, and the decision was taken that this race had to be neutralised. The escape group had got up to around about the 9-minute mark. It tumbled down to just over 7 minutes by the time the organisers decided that, to be honest, this was just too bad weather conditions wise for it to be safe. And so the buses were called in, clocks were stopped. The suspicion was that this would happen, and as a result the escapees really went for it in terms of speed despite the conditions. So did the chasers. So we had some very fast riding leading to this point. Onto the buses they went, and in fact they were supposed to restart around about 10 minutes ago, so bottom of the hour, about 2:30. That's been put even further back, and in fact they're going to be staying on the buses and not restarting the clocks until we get beyond Le Mani. So here we are at the finish line, waiting for this race to restart. Once it does, there will be around about 90 kilometres of racing remaining, plus the two climbs, the Cipressa and the Poggio, to be dealt with, along with some smaller lumps along the way, the Capomelle, the Cervo and the Berta. So here is race situation as we stand. Advantage 7 minutes and 10 for the escapees. The race has been brought to a halt and will restart due to snow beyond the Meni. The Meni is the traditional sort of kicking off point, if you like, the main action point where we begin to find out who or how this race will at least have its character for this particular year. But equally so, the peloton, will they have fresh legs? Who knows? They've already raced, don't forget, by the time they stopped the race today, around about 130 kilometres. Then keeping the heat in the legs is a very, very difficult call. And in fact, a lot of riders apparently do not have spare clothing. And so those cold, damp clothes, albeit inside a warm team bus, I guess, will have to stay on their backs. And then we get racing again after the Meni. We're still waiting then.
We are still waiting. You can see on your screens there, we are starting again from Colgoletto at 1400 GMT, that's 1500 local time. So still another 20 minutes before the riders have to get off their bus. And I presume that race start is also for the 6 breakaway riders. The main bunch will have to start a further 7 minutes and 10 seconds behind that. And looking at Twitter, some interesting updates, not least from the riders themselves. It's quite a rarity in the middle of a big race, but some amazing pictures of the riders, even though they went into the bus and they stopped just for a little while to get past around the Tocchino Pass. There was amazing pictures of the riders with icy snow on their caps and on their helmets and on their bikes. It's pretty incredible to see, but they are starting before the Le Mani climb, but they aren't taking in the climb itself, so they're obviously rerouting the race around that point.
Well, a nasty little curve right at the very last. I suspect it's going to be a sprint finish today, but it's only if these guys are going to get caught. These are the escapees, the original escapees when this race was halted due to snow at the Tocchino. We are restarting beyond the Mani, and as a result, these guys have got to wait 7 minutes and 10 seconds for the original gap to be reinstated, essentially. The timekeeper will give them the flag, and then the chase will be on.
It'll be very much on, and not least with the guys on the right-hand side of your screen. And the lime green there of Team Cannondale. They'll be the first to the front, I would imagine. Pre-race favourite, as we've already said, is Peter Sagan in that team. And I'm sure they'll put 2 or 3 riders possibly on the front straight away at the start. There's Baden Cook of Orica Greenwich. They've got in that team the last 2 winners of this race in the form of Simon Gerrans of last year and Matt Goss of the year before that. Matt Goss actually, of all of the riders from Australia, won't mind this weather conditions too much just because he's from Tasmania and seems to cope quite well when it's cold and wet. So be interested to see what his form is coming later in towards the race.
Taz is a very, very green and verdant part of the planet. It's due to the rain that comes down. And Matt Goss, well, he's more than capable of dealing with this sort of thing. Dealing with these guys out front is what the peloton have to do. They are away and gone. We just saw a few moments ago that Peter Sagan was looking nice and relaxed. I am not surprised. It's kind of playing into his hands. He's a very quick man, of course, we know that. He's got his Cannondale team absolutely motivated. If they could be on blocks, they would be toes into them right now, ready to go racing. But Peter Sagan, yes, I think it may well be his day today, although do not count out the other quick men who are here. It could be a reinvigorated Mark Cavendish, who's been playing his chances down, don't forget. I wonder what he thinks now. I can't even tell you how he tweeted about the snow today because we'd have to bleep it out, but he wasn't best pleased. The 2009 champion, though, of San Remo, the winner here, will be going for it. And so will the likes of Andre Greipel as well. I think today, he wasn't one of my pre-race favourites, but now I think Greipel has a fantastic chance. He can climb. He was a junior hill climb champion. So if the rain just ebbs ever so slightly and doesn't interrupt his psyche too much, he could be a main contender as well. But it's no doubt about it, the men in the lime green Cannondale are where everyone is looking. And it's Sagan who fills our screens, kind of, behind his teammate, who we're all waiting for just to see how he performs. Out front, these are our escapees, the original escapees who have gone for it, and we've restarted just before the many. Are they going to contest the many, or is it still bad weather on top?
I don't think it's because of the weather. From some of the updates I've been reading and some of the information that we've had just here, I think it's more a case of to do with the television actually at the finish line and the time that the riders are going to finish. They're already going to be behind the schedule and finishing here in San Remo around about half an hour later than predicted, and so I think it's more of a time reason rather than the fact that the conditions are poor at the top of Le Mani.
So there we are. They will skirt the Mani and bring it home then. So a slightly longer race than we had predicted. So this one's going to finish just a little bit later, and they're doing their level best to actually iron that out for all the viewers around the world who have joined us here. Shame about the Mani, though. That really is, for me anyway, the launch pad for every single San Remo. It's the action point that everyone waits for.
Well, I'm sure the sprinters are horrified that this steep climb is no longer a part of the race.
Absolutely delighted, I'll be bound. Have you got any tips then yourself? Have you changed your mind on this one?
Not really, because you know, even a few days. Oh, look at it's like the start of a cyclocross race. You can see them all edging forward, raring to go, and they're going to be going flat out. It does look like a reduced peloton though.
There is an escape group up the road. 6 men have gone. In fact, we've had to wait for 7 minutes and 10 seconds before the flag will be raised and the chase will be on. This is going to be frenetic. The Milan-San Remo, the 104th running, was held up at the Torquino. There is the time, and hold yourselves. He's not ready just yet. My goodness, well, it looked like a count to me. It's turned out to be a bit of a mess here. Lots of bike stands going on. Finally, he allows them to roll. They're underway. I think the escapees got a little more of a gap there than they were intending. So this will be pacey. They will be. They'll take their time to actually get themselves into formation here. But up front, no doubt about it, those who were leading Cannondale have started out on a charge here.
Yeah, you could see them. I think this is going to be very, very strung out very quickly indeed. It reminds me on a slightly smaller scale of the Tour of Britain back in 2007. We had, for very different reasons, to stop the race or the stage in the middle of the stage there. And we had a breakaway that had only just been established, but a very big big breakaway around about 20 riders, and we could see from the restart how quickly they went off, and we'd kind of organised a chase behind. It was absolutely manic for the first hour, and in fact we never caught them in the end. I do think they will be caught today, this breakaway. It's still a long way to the finish, 132 k's or thereabouts, and just over 7 minutes the time gap, especially looking at the intent of teams such as Cannondale.
Yes, you are looking at the finish line today. As you can see, it looks reasonably miserable. Believe me, it is nothing as to what the riders have been dealing with earlier on today. We are racing, I can tell you. We've got a slight problem with picture breakdown because of the weather that we're dealing with today. They will be skirting the Mani. They will not be climbing it, unfortunately for us. It means that the race will be shortened in terms of distance. They've already chopped quite a bit out of it. The Turquino was suspended. The race called to a hiatus because of snow, and now we have restarted beyond it. We will skirt the Mani, and then we will race for the Cipressa and the Poggio later on. There are 6 riders up the road as the Milan-San Remo gets back underway after the stop. Due to the inclement weather, snow and ice on the road, just too dangerous. At the restart here, they'll skirt by the Mani, around about 130 kilometres to be completed then in the run to San Remo. These 6 riders had a 7-minute and 10-second gap at the restart, but just look who is on their tails. Astana are here, and so are Cannondale. Astana, of course, thinking about Vincenzo Nibali, who did such a great job in the Tirreno Adriatico of retaking that title. He comes here absolutely on the up in terms of form and indeed in terms of mood. He wants to do it, and he would love to get the better of his old teammate Peter Sagan from the Liquigas days. Sagan and his Cannondale team, though, are charging down the escapees as we speak. Well, Lampre Merida, you've seen their familiar pink and blue up front. Pippo Pozzato is here. Yes, he was second in Rome. You may remember the Roma Maxima. Thought he'd won it, but it was Belcandri who'd actually done that job. Diego Undizzi, also from Lampre Merida. So yeah, Pippo Pozzato, he's on good form at the moment. Could come good here, but I think in the company he's going to be with the quick men, probably a big ask. Tor Ushoft. Yeah, would be a great day for Tour to take a step forward. Philippe Gilbert is in his team, and so is Greg van Avermaet for BMC, so they've got some quality here. Mark Renshaw and Paul Martins for Blanco in their blue and white. Not that you can see much of that. It seems that everyone just chooses black rain gear these days, despite a UCI ruling which says you have to match your team colours or have a see-through winter overall, but yes, it doesn't seem to have been adopted. I think there'd be sanctions for everybody if they impose those rules. Sasha Modolo as well for Bardieri Valvoli. How do you think he'll go today?
I think this is a race that will really suit him in years to come, but this year he's had a slight setback after he had a fracture. It wasn't the collarbone, was it? It was something else back in the Tour of Qatar in February. He had a crash out there and was off his bike for a little while. He's resumed racing, but his team also didn't get invited to Tirreno Adriatico, so he could have gone there and got some form back. I think it will be hard for him to compete with riders that are far more prepared and far further forward in their form for this season.
In no particular order, we're just dipping through the great and the good here, and here's your retirements list. It's quite a long one. Gosh, Blanco really have had enough, haven't they? Goodness me, that is there anyone left?
Chalengi I'm surprised about. I thought I saw him on our screens just a little while ago.
Well, we won't strike them out just yet, but that is not a good news for Blanco. I'm just wondering if they had any, if the heater had broken on the bus or something, and they didn't have any dry, clean clothes. You never know, it might well be a factor. We'll find out. Astana then, also helping out the chase down of the 6 men up the road at the moment. Vincenzo Nibali won the Tirreno Adriatico, defended that jersey brilliantly. Yes, he is on great form, he says. Enrico Gasparotto and Maxima Glinsky also for Astana. Giacottoli, Androni Giacottoli, it's Pelazzotti who's their team principal. They've got a man in the break. Likewise, AG2R have got a man in the break, but it's David Apollino who is leading their challenge here. You can stop smiling for a start. Simon Gerrans for Orica Green Edge, then, just to finish off. Matt Goss, the 2011 winner, has withdrawn from the race, and he's part of a large group of withdrawals as well.
Alex Howes of Team Garmin Sharp on the front now. As you said, they've got Wegman and Tyler Farrar that they're working for. I go back to what I said originally. I think half the riders are on the front here, and our colleague Brian Smith confirmed it, because they want to keep warm as much as they want to keep the gap down.
There we are. Brian Smith, who's heavily involved with Team Neta Endura, who've taken a big leap forward this year in terms of where they are performing. Proper World Tour team. 93.8 to go, and just under the 6-minute mark now. They're doing a decent job, these escapees, but I think their card is marked, and it's because of these guys bouncing up front and just trying to keep warm at the moment. How do you think Geraint Thomas will go today? I know we said it matches Welsh conditions on occasion.
Again, another question that we need answered towards the end. How will this Team Sky strategy, tactic if you want to call it, of going to Tenerife and some warm weather training at altitude before the Classics, how will that pay off? And I guess it's a gamble, but I guess they looked into it, as they do with everything at Team Sky, and made the decision that it will be better for the riders. But we'll see a little bit later on today. As you said, coming from Wales, he's used to conditions perhaps not quite this bad, but I'm sure he's ridden in it his fair share of times. We'll be interested to see how all of those guys go towards the end, especially Edvald Bursenhagen. The problem for Edvald Bursenhagen is what he was best at, which was sprinting from small groups, because he was out of the best sprinters, very able to get over the climbs compared to someone like Cavendish or Greipel. Peter Sagan's kind of trumped that now. He seems to be a slightly better sprinter and a slightly better climber, so that looks like Chierlek to me.
I think it's Thompson, but I might be wrong. Let's have a look. It might be Gerald. We'll have a look in a moment when we get a bit closer. He's certainly not going quickly. I don't know whether he's got a puncture, but doesn't look happy. We've seen a number of riders exactly that. Matt Goss, one of the principal riders in terms of the favourites list earlier on today, is also out today, and he's in good company, I can tell you. Some big names have decided to call it a day, and Tom Bonan is one of those. 5 minutes 34 is the gap as they continue to roll through town here. So Lemeni is not part of proceedings, unfortunately. That's the real launch pad for a lot of escapes, and it is indeed a puncture here. Quick bike change. Looks a little bit stiff. Mind you, the pictures aren't rolling at the moment, but the riders most certainly are. Back at the finish line. Well, there's no rain, but there is standing water here, so keep your fingers crossed that it goes smoothly today. At least the sort of slippy surface has been washed away, so essentially it is a dry surface that we're dealing with. Just trying to get a handle on who it is from Quebec who's actually made the stop here.
I think it was Gerald Chierlek. Didn't get quite close enough to confirm the race number, and hard to recognise some of the riders with being so wrapped up today, but did look like their team leader and the ex-under-23 world champion.
Good pace out front, 5 minutes 39. You know, it keeps tumbling down. We keep clipping off 30 seconds every now and again, and then they almost pick up pace as if they suddenly hit the comfort zone, or maybe they're just being warned that you know, if they don't refined their form here. Just looking at Pippa Fortuna at the back for Bardiani Valvoli. It's a green liveried outfit, not dissimilar to Cannondale when they're out of the wet weather gear. There's the front of the race. Monteguti, Fortan back, Rosa, Belkov and Lastras are the men out there. Out there is some pretty evil weather, and it has hampered us throughout the day. We've got a lot of picture breakup today, which is why you're seeing again and again the pictures of the finish line today. When we do get to that last end game, it really is going to be keep your fingers crossed for everybody, I'm afraid. Not only the roads and the hairpins down off the Poggio, but also the last kilometre. There is Cannondale with Astana and Lamprey out front, still with a lot of ambitions today. Who for Lamprey, you're saying? Well, Pozzato it is. Diego Olizzi will be in a supporting role today as the waves continue to crash in on the volcanic rocks that dot this part of the world. And another wheel issue for Kabeka, and different rider this time by. I think that's Venter.
Yeah, it looks like Jacobus Venter of South Africa, just changing his front wheel. He looks like he's got one from the... was that from his team, or was that from the...
I think it's from neutral.
No, his team's just there, but it looks like a different wheel. That's why it made me wonder if it was from the neutral car.
We'll see. Maybe they've run out. It's a tough call for them. Swapping Eddie Merckx for Trek machines by the looks of things. They started off with Merckx bikes. 5:25, not today, you understand. Just under the 90 kilometres to go mark then, and the coastline here. Well, the reason it is so shark's tooth on occasion is because the waves do crash in. Let's hope we don't get any crashes from amongst the riders today. It is a possibility, and a lot have stepped off and decided that this is just too much for them. What we got going on here? This looks like gloves. Have a glove.
That's Pataki of... no, it's not. Is that Pataki?
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yep.
I think he's probably changing gloves. I did see earlier that Greg Henderson had no feeling at all left in his hands, and was actually having to get his mechanic to change his gloves for him because just literally couldn't get them on.
Well, we've got problems along the way here. Not quite sure what the backdrop is, but there you go. Maybe we'll find out. He's in no hurry. I know that much.
Oh, I tell you what has happened. He's got that bag, is what they call the rain bag. I'm not sure what they call it in French and at Team Europcar, but every rider in the... le sac de pluie, yeah. Probably is something like that.
It is.
But every rider and every race has a rain bag in both the first and the second team cars. In case of weather like this coming down after the start or during the race, or if you just need some extra clothing to keep you warm, you'll have all sorts of things in there, like overshoes, spare socks, headbands, kind of ear warmer things, caps, rain capes, gilets, etc., gloves of course as well. And he would have been given that rain bag from the first team car as they went past, and now he's retiring, so he's just waiting for the what they call the broom wagon. What's that in French? Le wagon de broom.
Yes.
So that's the fini de gare. Fini gare probably is. It's a hard part of the race now. Looking on one of the other monitors, Sky kind of upping the tempo. Hopefully we'll see the front of the bunch in just a few moments' time. Mark Cavendish is still hovering around there in his shorts, and Chavanel, actually, confirmation that he's there. He's been on our other monitor. Focused on Pelizzotti at the moment. We've got some Italian cameramen. There's Geraint Thomas as well, the first we've seen of him, and a full complement of Lotto Belisol riders. Adam Hansen, the former national time trial champion of Australia. Jürgen Roylands, one of my kind of very outside tips for today, given how well he was going in the Tirreno Adriatico on the latter parts of the hard stages in really similar weather conditions today. So they're still looking pretty good. As you mentioned, the gorilla, Andre Greipel, is still up there at the front as well. And we're really starting to see who's motivated, who's on good form. All of the Lotto Belisol riders have got these red kind of protectors underneath their saddles.
Yes. Incidentally, Jürgen Roylands, Dan put £2.72 upon him. Just looking at Mark Cavendish here, and he looks up for war here. Look at that.
He looks comfy.
Head up, he does. He's spinning away nicely. He's got to believe that today has got something for him. The weather has started to look his way, kind of smile upon him, and maybe some others of the quick men here.
Matty Breschel of Team Saxo Bank is up there. He's not been mentioned one iota, I don't think, since the... have you really?
Yep.
All right, I'll let you on. But I don't think any of the kind of press or the... anybody else has really been talking about. This is really a race that kind of suited him a few years ago. He's had a couple of off seasons, but he's still right up there towards the front of the race. Looking towards the back, that's Alex Howes that's been working on the front. Visconti is the main guy in your screen from Team Movistar, three-time Italian national champion, lurking at the back of the bunch. And again, similar to Nibali, not looking too good for him at the moment. Baden Cook as well, just going through your picture there.
Bandiera as well looked like he wasn't overly delighted by the day for I Am Cycling. There you go. That's the brightest thing we've seen today, I think. The red flares of the Mountain Devils welcoming through this trio of remainders, I think you're allowed to call it, of the day. Diego Rosa, he's still here. So is Katusha's Maxim Belkov, and indeed so is Lars Bak. That is a backpack preparing for the
his
broom
rain
wagon.
bag. I wonder what that was.
Yeah, exactly. He's got his rain bag. It's got some nice cosy stuff in there, and maybe a bit of cake. Who knows? He's going to need something to cheer him up by the time he gets onto that bus, and that's where he's going, believe me. So Luca, I beg your pardon, it was Pelazzotti deciding that today is done for him. Out front, this trio still going, but I've got to tell you, at the front of the chasers is a whole raft of quality sprinters getting themselves into position. This is going to be fantastic. So the flares, a sign of distress, and I think many riders today have, well, they'll share that emotion. A lot of them are actually on the bus. The entire peloton got on the bus to skirt round the Torcino. They had to. Bad weather, snow and hail. If you're only just joining us, it's been a long old day. 4 hours and 43 minutes or so of cycling, plus a big hiatus because of inclement weather. They restarted just before the Meni, and yes,
I think
this list has gone up.
Sorry, I think I saw Tor Ushoft. I might be wrong on that one. I think I saw him slipping out of the back of the bunch. Get more of an update on that for you as well soon, but I think that was, I did see the number on the screen. I'm pretty sure it was 62.
You know, in terms of our predictions and our strategizing today, we've chopped and changed. The teams are having to do exactly the same. Now they are building for a sprint finish, and it's the quick men that are to the fore in terms of thoughts of success. Those who might have been classified amongst the punchers, I should say, such as Fabian Cancellara, possibly not going to be their day. Certainly Vincenzo Nibali, who would have been amongst that group as well, is not looking happy. We think he is going to join the likes of Pelazzotti and other quality riders on the bus. Nice little downhill section for them just to get a bit of speed back into the legs. Now watch the standing water here. How much of it is there? Because there's going to be more, and the rain has just started to come back. The corners here very damp.
We're getting news on our race monitors that the gap is only 1 minute and 12 seconds now, so that's come down very quickly on the Capoberto. So that injection of pace by Team Sky has taken almost a minute out of the breakaway riders in a very short period of time. Hasn't strung the bunch out too much. I think we got our answer about Bernie Eisel being an outsider for today. He's already working on the front of the bunch. And the guy in fourth, we've got Kirienka behind him, Stannard behind him. Trying to decide who the guy in shorts is that's currently in fourth place.
Hello, that's a dropped rain bag. There you go, just what you need. That was one of the Omega Pharma boys. I'm hoping it wasn't Chavanel. We speculate. 36.5 kilometres to go, and look at the surface here. It could prove crucial, especially on the switchbacks, and the motorcycle is getting in the way here because it can't take the corners as fast as the cyclist. Come on, he says, Eisel, let's get this thing motoring. And back to the bird, which is in the sky here, and the gap is absolutely tumbling. Less than a minute now. So they've timed this very well. It's going to give a launch pad here for some who might fancy a break. I'm just wondering if Sky are going to mix it up and send some guys up the road here on the climb. What do you think?
I just think that they're all feeling particularly good. They will have been in communications with each other since the restart of this race, and they're obviously, they would have had a plan beforehand as well, but that plan can always change given how you're feeling on the road. But they're also obviously feeling pretty strong at the moment, want to whittle that group down over the next couple of climbs. They're over that Capoberta now, but now it's not long until the real crunch point of today's race. The distance between the foot of the Capoberta and the start of the Cipressa, which is the longest climb we've got now between here and the finish, the penultimate climb of the day. It's only 6 kilometres. So this is the really big crunch point of Milan San Remo, and Team Sky with 4 riders still fully on the front, and a group of, around 80 or 90 riders still here to contest this final little part of the race.
Into town they come, some pinch points here, and you can see the speed that's being kept up here. This is going to be a pacey end to what has been an extraordinarily long day. It's not supposed to be easy, the Milan-San Remo, but I think this one has been more difficult than most. Certainly the weather, as you know, has played a part today. It's a difficult one to call, though. It's likely to be the fast men by the end here, and certainly Sky is starting to think about Bosenhagen and Geraint Thomas, perhaps. Cavendish is up there looking fresh. Greipel's in the frame as well. Degenkolb is being marshalled by Shimano. It's pick your man time, really. Sagan still has friends around him, although Cannondale have eased back just a little bit, and we dip down just to find him almost dead centre of a chasing pack at the moment. There remains 3 escapees from a group of 6 up the road. 45 seconds.
Yeah, that's going to be... well, it's going to be down to nothing by the time they get to the top of the Cipressa. It's a reasonably difficult climb. We haven't really gone over the details of it too much so far, but it's average of 4%, goes on for 5.65 kilometres, only goes up 234 metres, but there is a point that's 9% max, and it is all about positioning on this climb. There's a lot of corners, and that does make a big difference when the speed's up. I mean, they'll be climbing something like the Cipressa around about 30 k's an hour plus. These pro riders, so positioning very, very important, particularly on today when coming around the corners the gaps will be even larger than normal on a dry day.
Only 38 seconds. Tongue hangs out rather theatrically there by Diego Rosa. Knows the camera's on him. He's done a good job for his sponsors here. Now then, let's have a look. A little bit of a rain jacket handover. Did this go tragically wrong?
No, I think it's just showing Fabian Cancellara starting to get into race mode.
Yep.
Take some layers off. You can see the speed has kind of caused that effect that we so often see. So a string out the front of Team Sky riders, a little bulb just after that, full of riders that have positioned themselves very well, and then a string behind that. Let's have no doubt this has been fast over the last number of kilometres, and this is really the point where we're going to see who's feeling good in Milan-San Remo. We've got Tyler Farrar just on the wheel of Mark Cavendish there. Just to the left of Mark Cavendish is Sylvain Chavanel. A couple of Astana riders still up towards the front. We've seen Fabian Cancellara as well. Sagan safely there as well. He's only got 1 teammate left with him. A few notables missing. We haven't seen anything of Philippe Gilbert, world champion. I think that I saw Tor Ushoft, his teammate, going out the back. Still got to get confirmation of that. So some big name riders missing from this front group. But as you said earlier, the sprinters looking particularly good. And I think that's just because they've dealt with these wet and very cold conditions better than anybody else. Ventoso, I think, is also there from Movistar. He won a sprint stage at last year's Giro d'Italia, and he's still up towards the front fairly ominously as well.
We'll see in a few moments' time. Just under 34 kilometres to go here, and this is going to be fascinating. The pace most certainly has changed. And this run for home, I think, is going to be a very, very quick one. I think we're going to be done and dusted in about the next sort of 45 minutes or so. We'll see. 21 seconds only the gap now to the escapees. And it's the big names of sprinting that have come to the fore. Tyler Farrar as well has got to believe that he could get something out of today. I haven't seen Sagan for a while.
I think he was loitering in the top 20. He wasn't quite as near to the front as we've seen him a little bit earlier on, but 32.7 kilometres. Selvaggi.
Bit of a tumble for him. He's a very good young sprinter, actually, Selvaggi. He can be part of some really good climbing, I should say, I beg your pardon. Some lumps. He could be a useful man up there, but he's had an issue here.
Yeah, not a good time to get it at all.
It looks like he's picked up a whole load of road rash as well. Has he been off?
It might have been. He changed bikes. It looked like initially he was just changing wheels. I think just the bike was... what happens on the top of these team cars is the team leaders have their bikes on the side. Not only are they easiest to access there, but they've also got both wheels on. And then some of the lesser riders from the team will have their bikes in the middle without a front wheel, so it makes that change that bit slower, and that's what happened to Selvaggi there. Had to get a spare bike off, put the front wheel on, and off he went. But very little chance of him making it back to this group now. As I said, it's really coming up to the crunch point of the race. The leading trio that we've got left out the front, the group of Lars Bak of Team Lotto Bellassol, have got just under 4 kilometres now. In fact, I think almost exactly 4 kilometres now before they hit the foot of the Cipressa.
Well, Selvaggi would have burnt himself out for Lagardin, Boller and Fletcher, the quick men of Vacansoleil, but unfortunately he's not going to be part of that. Out front, this trio have gapped. They've just gone off by, 18 seconds? Yeah, confirmed on your screen, but Sky with a lot of ambitions for today. And Edvald Bosenhagen, well, maybe he will find something on the over the top of the Poggio. First of all, we've got to deal with the Cipressa, and it's coming up in just a few moments' time. A couple of kilometres, in fact. 27.8 to go. They will hit the foot of it. There's a sort of a downhill ramp to that point. They're just on a little rise at the moment, our leaders. They'll come down off that and then hit the climb of the Cipressa at speed. At speed at the moment are the chasers. Mark Cavendish is not that far adrift here of his old Sky teammates with Omega Pharma Quickstep, and Sylvain Chavanel is still in the race with Mark Cavendish, so they've still got a couple of hands to play. Tom Bonen is out for Omega Pharma. He's in good company. 10 seconds now, and less than that, as you can see. I think it's about 4. We'll get the call all together, unless this is some of the stragglers. The checks over the shoulders here, and it's the brave men have done their job, but we still have just shy of 31 kilometres to go, and Lars Bak is the first of those trio to sit up.
Not seen that too many times. A little bit of cling film, not for aerodynamics, but just to make his head slightly warmer, I presume.
Keep his head as fresh as his sandwiches. There we are. It's Sky that's just riding into these guys right now, and they will just drift back. The stuffing knocked out of them.
Yeah, I don't think they'll even go up the Cipressa and the Poggio. They'll probably head straight into the finish here at San Remo.
There we go. This is high-paced stuff right now. Weather gear to the fore, as you can see. Who are Garmin thinking of today? Tyler Farrar, of course. Is Fabian Beckman also in the mix?
I'd imagine he would have been one of the kind of slightly more protected riders of that team behind Tyler Farrar. Farrar's looking pretty good. In fact, he was also not too bad in terrain on that penultimate stage, the very hard 200-kilometre stage in horribly wet conditions. He was particularly better than a lot of the other sprinters in that race, so he's obviously feeling on good form, and he's in around about 10th position here at the moment. Has been very prominent at the front of the race for a number of kilometres now.
Oscar Gatto's here for Farnese Vini in their rather thankfully day-glow yellow outfit here, and so is Sant'Ambrogio. He's managed to keep up rather well today. He's been on very, very good form, but I think he would have preferred a few more lumps. 29.9 to go then, and the pace most certainly high. What will they be averaging at the moment, Dan?
At this point on the run up to the Poggio, under normal circumstances you'd see kind of speeds of close to 60 k's now. It'll probably be slightly less today because of course you lose a lot more momentum around each slight corner where you're not able to pedal, and you have to just slow down a little bit more and throttle back because of the dangerous slippery corners. There's Kevin Horseman is just bringing up his teammate towards the front. That's Rabatini that's on his wheel also in shorts, but they will be hitting kind of 52, 53, probably 55 k's an hour on the run up to this climb. You can see how important the positioning is. Everybody jostling. Lotto Bersol on the left hand side of your screen, right hand side of the road. That was Zebo just bringing his teammates up towards the front of the bunch. As I said, hugely important to be at the front of the start of the Cipressa, because it's such a fast climb with so many twists and turns that even if you're just 40th or 50th back, you can well, you can really start to suffer. It's Team Vacan Soleil with, as you said, their team leader. One of them is Flescher. Is he towards the back? I think that's well, a complete change of the guard actually at the front of the race now. Vacan Soleil taking over the pacemaking.
Yeah, great. Gabola and Sergio Lagatin up there, certainly. Yeah, Vini Fantini not that far away either. If it is Rabatini, he's a real escape artist. You have to do something very dramatic if he's going to escape from these guys. If you do overthink about it, though, and you give too much respect to the quick men, and they're all kind of watching each other, you never know, it might well just play into the hands of somebody.
Is Tor Ushoft, is that a group off the back? I think this possibly what we've, yeah, this group that we've seen, sorry, is a group that's been dropped off the back of the main peloton. A reasonably large group. It's trying to chase back on, but I think it's a futile effort given the speed at the front of the race at the moment. And just to confirm what I saw on the other monitor a bit earlier, one of those riders, Tortushoff, the outside favourite given these conditions at the start of this race today, but not the legs that he was hoping for, that's for sure.
No, absolutely. Look at this. The gurning goes on, and I'm not surprised today. Look at the pace as well. Around about 60 kilometres per hour on this little downhill ramp as they approach the Cipressa end game time coming up. They weave inland ever so slightly, and then it'll be back to the coast before we go inland again for the Poggio. Hello.
There's Geraint Thomas is down. Team Sky that have been riding on, but Tyler Farrar as well. Oh, what a disaster for these riders. That's Navadowski's just coming back to help Farah, but I think it's more than just a puncture. He's got to his chains off. What a disaster for all these riders after suffering for so long. You can see the anger and frustration from Tyler, and I think it's game over for these riders. It's such a crucial point of the race. It becomes so fast at this point. There's no getting back on from them. What a shame.
Well, we were talking about the sheer surface here. It's the painted road surface, incidentally. Somebody's dabbed the brakes here, and they have taken a tumble, and it's taken out some quality here, I'm afraid. Nightmare. Now,
there's Thomas Lundqvist of IAM Cycling. It's let's get back to the front of the race. Some aggressive riding going on. Sylvain Chavanel is the rider in 4th position. Jürgen Roylants is the Lotto Belisol rider, hovering around about 5th place. He's also got Bouet, I think that is from AG2R. Was that Sagan or was that one of his teammates? But just probably a disruption in the peloton after that crash, because it was very close to the front of the group, and it was also some of the riders or some of the teams that were very prominent in controlling this race, and that will have disrupted the flow of it. I think we can expect to see a number of attacks up this point in the race now.
And here it goes. Jürgen Rollins is one of those. Rank outsider, I think you might say, amongst the top favourites, although still very much in that vanguard for Lotto Belisol, and he's part of this group here of 5 who've just gone off the front. They've taken advantage of a very unfortunate situation for both Sky and IAM were involved. So was Garmin. Tyler Ferraro found himself on the deck, and they've kicked off here. Now that is not Sagan as part of the Cannondale push here.
Maybe it's Moser, their trump card, but the bunch not too far behind. Thomas Lundqvist in his first year, obviously at this new Swiss team. He won the Tour of the Mediterranean not so long ago. The main group behind has really whittled down, especially because of that crash. We've got around about probably 50 riders left back there now. It's been an atrocious, horrendous day. It's probably quite early to go absolutely full gas even for these riders at the front. Chavanel, well, he can say that he's got Mark Cavendish still in this group behind. Presumably, we haven't got any big pictures and close-up pictures in the peloton since that crash at the bottom. But a strong group prizing themselves off the front. Team Sky still riding on the front of this bunch, but who for? I presume that their leader was Geraint Thomas. Is Edvald Bersenhagen still in this group? Let's have a look.
We'll find out.
Caruso is the guy from Canada.
Chavanel, Caruso and Rollants are the men up the road at the moment. It's quality.
Lundqvist having to do all the work here on the front. He is the best, well, probably the best climber of this escape group. Caruso, again, another guy that's, I mean, the problem with this group is that they've got a lot of guys who are willing to sit on and say they've got their team leaders behind. Roylants has got Greipel, Maxime Bouet, probably the only other rider that would willingly do some work. Chavanel has got Cavendish behind. There's a number of riders just getting distanced off the back of the peloton. Let's get some see what other surprise we've still got. I think that's Apollonia, the AG2R rider, just on your screens at the moment. 184 from Team Etienne Quebecer, also getting distance. Sorry, not 184. 164. Sparagli. Kevin Horseman's also going off the back.
Well, you get a shockwaves going through the peloton here, but right now it's Rollants up front with Sylvain Chavanel, who's been called out of this race several times, including by us, but he finds himself out front at the moment. They are chasing back on, however, and I think this is possibly doing with 25.9, but they spring again here.
Maxime Bouet of AG2R launches another attack from that breakaway group. Chavanel straight on his wheel. Chavanel's looking very, very comfortable at this point in time. Lundqvist just getting swept up by the bunch behind, but it's a strong attack from Bouet.
There he goes. Bouet makes the race of it out front here, just trying to keep some distance between himself and the chaser. Sylvain Chavanel, he does stand, you're absolutely right, looking very, very comfortable. He's not even blowing his cheeks here after over 5 hours in the saddle. We've just gone past the 5 hour mark, by the way. 25.6 kilometres to go. Well, we've had shockwaves go through the peloton here with a fall close to the front of the bunch. We know that Tyler Ferraro was one of those who was taken down. Back on his bike, we understand. And in fact, Sky doing a reordering of proceedings here. But
yeah, we can only assume that Edvald Bersenhagen is still sat in this group somewhere. Stannard's up towards the front. He's, I think, been working. He was at least towards the front when his team was working. I'm not sure if he actually did ride on the front of the bunch. But the Italian guard just coming to the front now. Lampre Merida and Vinny Fantini ahead of Sylvain Chavanel.
Did Eisel escape that one?
I don't know. It did look to be only 2 Team Sky riders, and one of them was Geraint Thomas. I didn't get a name check on the other. I think that might be Eisel just next to Geraint Thomas, a bit further down.
Oh dear. Well, it's been a day where so many have suffered, and it isn't over yet. 25.1 to go. Lamprey thinking of Pippo Pozzato today. He's a big man, but it's a big ask as well today. Here we go. Here's Edvald Bosenhagen. Yeah, there he is. Just not with his own car, looking for it at the moment, and there doesn't seem a great deal of urgency about him. I think he's done.
He is. He's another rider that's I predicted before would cope better with the conditions, and obviously hasn't. So we're seeing the surprise that we were expecting towards the end of this race. This group really dwindling. I'm only expecting to see around 25, perhaps 30 riders just going over the top of this one.
Mallory then at the front of this little select group here with 25.8 to go. Edvald Bosenhagen, one of those that took a tumble, and he's not happy at all. No pace about him at all. And I think that is day done for Bosenhagen. It'll probably come as a blessed relief. Bouet has been animating.
Is that Gerrans? Number one, Simon Gerrans is dropped from the front group. Last year's winner is unable to keep up with the pace.
My goodness, it goes on. I'm not surprised. I think if anyone's knocked back here, down, they're not going to get there. No.
Greipel's in trouble.
It is. He's really struggling here. Do you think he was caught up in the crash?
I don't think so. I just think he's struggling with the conditions and not got the legs to get over with the front groups there, and it's going to be particularly hard to chase back on. We've still got to, how far have we got? To another over 2 kilometres until they reach the top of the Cipressa, which comes at 22.1 kilometres to go. So we're really starting to see who's got the legs here. Big old Ian Style, national champion of Great Britain, is looking pretty good to me. He's taking up positions. He's in 5th place there on the right-hand side of your screen. Roylant's still up there. He'll become the leader for Lotto Belisol now. He was part of that escape at the bottom of the Cipressa. Cancellara down to shorts, spinning away, also looking very good.
And I think Sagan's in there as well. We'll have a look in a few moments' time. Certainly looks that way.
Gilbert
is in the frame. Wow.
Sorry, just spotted Gilbert on the very bottom of the shot in the World Champions jersey. Here we go then, it's Flescher up towards the front, number 231 from Vacansoleil. Also, off the back, sorry. More people off the back.
Well, we keep chopping and changing from the front to the back. There's probably 60 riders there. There's a group of around about 8 who are trying to get back on here. And there's others who have, frankly, just called it a day today. Now, is this Tyler Ferrara's trying to get back here?
No, I think that, they'll be a long way back. The pace is really up now on the Cipressa. This is Johanna Freda, who don't know whether he got caught out behind or whether he's just starting to come good, but he's trying to get back towards this group on your screens now, which is the front of the race.
Rabatini, who had been busy for Vini Fantini up there. Have you spotted Sagan yet?
No, I'll tell you why I pointed it out to you is because I think that might be Degenkolb, your a quiet pre-race favourite, 5th last year, not quite showing the form that we expected this year, but he's just on the middle of your screens right now with the blocked out Argos Shimano helmet.
There he is, little guy he is, but he's a hell of a puncher. Started the day 80 to 1. I was telling everybody who cared to listen that I thought those odds were far too long, and he's in the main group here right now.
Langeveld still here, Orca Green Edge. Gasparotto still up here as well from Astana. Number of riders from Team Cannondale, slight lull in the pace now. Felix Gilbert on the bottom left of your screens now in the World Champions jersey. Got a number of riders from Astana. There's still a few from Team Sky, perhaps not the ones we were expecting.
Gabi Rasch is here, so is Ian Stannard as well, joined by one other. They've got a trio here, so they're going to be off the leash and they'll be able to play here.
Pozzato is also still in this Cipressa descent and the start of the Poggio. In fact, it's let's see exactly, it's only around about 5 or 6 kilometres, and this will really get strung out on this descent with all of the corners that they've got to face. So positioning just as important here, and that's why you're seeing so many riders just jostling up the front. Is that Finney, who's the just on the top right hand side of your screens now in Team BMC? It looks very much like Taylor Finney for me. We got told earlier that he'd pulled out of the race. Maybe that wasn't true.
Just looking at the gap between the foot of the Cipressa and the start of the Poggio here, it starts with 10 to go. So at the end of this run, you're going to have, it'll be around about 4 or 5 kilometres before they start climbing again, so it's going to come very, very quickly.
I think that's Heinrich Haus there without any gloves on the left-hand side of your picture, just behind the two Astana riders, just making his way towards the front. The guy that came second in 2009. I'll tell you who I haven't spotted, Mark Cavendish. Have you seen him there?
No, I haven't seen him for a while, but then again, suddenly a pair of calf muscles, which are I'm just seeing if that's
there he is.
Here. There
He's
he is,
still
just
there.
to the left of the screen. Cavendish is in here. This is amazing.
Here we go.
I'm sorry that
I'm
sorry we're having to say I think a lot, but everyone's in their rain gear. Oh, look at this. Get yourself into a safe place. Side of the road is possibly the best place to be under normal circumstances, but unfortunately it's full of puddles here today, so you've got to take it very, very carefully. The centre of the road maybe, but you want to be in a decent position as you come to one of these pinch points, and away they go. Oh, this is fantastic. Taylor Phinney is there, I'm sure.
That is Taylor Phinney on the just at the back part of this bunch. Now we saw how quick the sprint was into the descent here. Wow, look at Gilbert coming down.
Oh, take care, for goodness sake. This is a very, very, very slippery surface here. It's not because of any fuel that's lingering or anything like that. It's just that there is still an awful lot of moisture here. There's nothing left for the road to absorb. Here's the hairpins that we're talking about. You have to give them an awful lot of respect, and you need to be in a decent place because you're going to be first to escape here. If you're stuck with riders around you, you're going to have to take the long route through just to stay safe, and away they go. This is fantastic. Gilbert is in a happy place at the moment as well.
Well, because he knows that the easiest position to be right now is on the front, picking your own line, really accelerating out the corners, because that's going to really put the hurt on the riders that are even 12th, 15th place back, let alone those in 50th position. When we come at the bottom of the Cipressa back onto the seafront and we turn right, there are going to be some huge gaps in this group, possibly bigger than the gaps we saw on the climb itself.
Well, this was the prediction that Gilbert would have to go long because there's so many quality sprinters within this group. We don't think Andre Greipel is here. He's suffered and possibly gone back to a secondary group here. Got about 30 or so riders, which include the likes of Cavendish, Phinney, certainly Gilbert, and the rest, and he's pacing out here, and look at him take these corners. This is absolutely brilliant. The motorcycle can't keep up at the moment. They're racing to get back on with him. There is the motorcyclist doing a great job. I hope he stays safe. And there is the world champion. Just look at this.
Just going through the 20k to go, Mark. It's too early, in my opinion, for Philippe Gilbert to go solo. I think he'll be hoping at the bottom of this climb, or sorry, bottom of this descent, to have a few riders either with him or just join him as they get to the seafront. It's whilst it's only 5 or 6 k's to go between here and the start of the Poggio, between the bottom of the descent and the start of the Poggio, he won't want to be using that energy just to try and maintain a small gap, but what he will want to be doing is just getting into a select group.
Cancellara is on his case at the moment. He's close at hand here, and I think that might be Sagan as well. If not, it's certainly Moser. Both of those are in this group. 20 to go at the moment, and it's the world champion Philippe Gilbert who's out front. Well, he had a very, very quiet season last year after just picking up just about everything the season prior to that. And maybe it's time for him to come back out the box here for BMC.
I'd love to have had a quiet season where I won the World Championships. No, but you're right, he wasn't on form this time last year. He did say that he's feeling much, much better this year. We didn't get a win from him in Paris-Nice. He came second on one of the penultimate stage to Sylvain Chavanel, who we've seen a lot of in fact, he's the rider going through the top of your screens right there now. So he's obviously feeling good. He's hugely motivated for this race, and we can see he's on good form as well, particularly on the descent.
Absolutely. He bounced out at the back of last season after disappointing mostly as world champion, and of course he's come here as and looking very lively as well. He stayed fresh on what has been a horrible day today, and he's riding these curves beautifully. Chase is on. Cancellara is part of that. Don't look for Bosenhagen, who would have also been useful under these conditions. He's no longer part of this group after suffering and getting held up in a crash just as they approach the Cipressa here. But they really are strung out, and it's the race for some of these. They're racing as if they're racing for home.
Well, this is coming towards the bottom. I'm laughing as I'm finding this very exciting indeed. Gilbert hits the bottom. As I said, gaps appearing all over the place under the pressure of this man from accelerating out through all those corners of descent. He's also got the advantage of all these motorbikes in front of him. He's off the front on his own, but he will be getting shelter and help and not pushing so much wind because of those motorbikes in front. You can see how frantic the commissaires are on the motorbike. Chavanel is just coming up behind him now, and I'm sure Gilbert will be pleased to have some company. Also Ian Stannard and John Degenkolb
Hello,
Coming up
John.
behind them, Cancellara, one of the riders from looks like the Russian national champion Katusha and Sagan. We've got a hugely select group at the end of this descent right now.
Well, Sagan and Degenkolb are going to be the men that they'd love to shake out of this, but they're going to do their level best to stay in touch with this.
Wow, look at the damage that's been done.
Degenkolb, the diminutive Argus Shimano rider. You've got the mountain that is Peter Sagan, and they have sped away here. It's time to show what you have got.
Pipo Pozzato, the last rider, trying to get onto the back of this seven-man group. It looks like he's going to make it. Let's see how quickly they get together and start rolling through. I think Chavanel's playing the Cavendish card here, saying that I've got a previous winner of this race, one of the favourites for today behind, and I do not need to aid this group in front. Let's see how quickly the other six get together and start rolling through.
Well, we said it'd be a select group. It couldn't get more select than this. 17.4 kilometres to go, and it's the world champion out front, Philippe Gilbert. He made up for what was a lacklustre season last year by taking the rainbow jersey right at the very end. And is he carrying that form into the beginning of this? Absolutely. Front of the race at the moment, and it's becoming more select. Who's bridging over?
Pozzato and Roylance of Lotto Belisol have just bridged the gap up towards the front now, and it's quite a reasonable gap behind as well.
Kick-off out the front here. Big check over the shoulder by the Katusha rider here. He's gone. Stannard's trying to keep up with it as well. Oh, fantastic stuff. It is Vorganov, the Russian champion, who's gone up there with the British champion, Stannard, and they're looking at each other. Now, what have you got?
7 kilometres then before the start of the final climb to today, the Poggio. Sylvain Chavanel's also joined. Maybe he will work now that he's in more of a select group. Let's wait and see. They're risking a lot here. That was a very good group to be in, and if they just rolled through enough, they could have established themselves at the front of the race. As it is, they've started to jump about. 3 riders off at the front at the moment. It's Ian Stannard, the British national champion of Team Sky, another national champion of Russia, Vorganov of Team Katusha, and Sylvain Chavanel, next national champion of France of Team Omega Pharma Quickstep, is the last man there.
And here comes Gilbert trying to get back on, and I think that's Cancellara as well, who's involved in the chase here. Where is Sagan and where is Degenkolb? Is the question. Maybe they're just keeping something of their powder dry for a little bit later on. He wants help, Gilbert. He's going to get it. But just how much quality have they got to get back at these guys? It's a trio up front at the moment. They're all looking at each other.
It's because Chavanel sat on the back. He's, the other 2 riders are just annoyed that he's not pulling his weight at the front. Will he come through now? Let's see what happens.
Well, not well, kind of. He's a bit of an anchor here. I don't know whether he's looking to help out Cavendish or just whether he's looking for a free ride and using it as an excuse. Stannard's not happy. Stannard's not happy at all, and he goes to the front now and does a turn, but there's no urgency about him at all, and Vorganov will take this back over. It's these 3 up with 15.7 to go at the moment. Concentration time, his arm flicks out, nobody wants to pick it up. He drifts to the side of the road, and Vorganov decides to join it. This is Gilbert chasing on here with one of the Lotto Belisol riders.
Yes, compatriot Roylance is helping Gilbert to chase back up to this trio. What has happened to Cancellara, Sagan? Sagan decided to wait. I think he's still got a number of teammates left in the group behind. Maybe he's gambled. I can't imagine that he didn't have the legs to go with this front trio. Same goes for a couple of the other riders. Pozzato, he did a hard chase back on, but then again, so did Roylance, and he's in this group with Gilbert, around about, 6-7 seconds behind this trio.
Yeah, it may well form into a group of 5 here, but they've got a tall order to go over the Poggio together and stay clear. Front of the race then, it's Vorganov, the Russian champion, Ian Stannard, champion of Great Britain. Chavanel as well is here. Chasing on is Philippe Gilbert, looking for help from Jürgen Rollins. So it'll be those 5. There they are, big chats going on. They have. We're going to wait. What have you got? Gilbert's presumably asking of Jürgen Rollins what he has left. Rollins would probably prefer to come out of a bigger group. We'll see. 14.7, and here are the chasers, and still Cancellara towards the front here, and Sagan also involved. Can't see Mark Cavendish just for the time being, but he is in that group.
2 riders from Cannondale onto the front of the bunch. They're just about to catch this duo of Belgians who were trying to catch the riders off the front of the bunch. How many riders have Cannondale got? That's the big ask. And what other teams are going to join in this chase? Of course, Katusha, Omega Pharma Quickstep and Team Sky all represented at the front here. Much diminished bunch behind. 3 Team Sky riders there who don't have to do a single turn on the front. And very hard to see who's going to be doing this work beyond Team Canada. I don't think Cancellara's got many or any teammates left in that group.
Now we think Taylor Finney is also still very much involved in the main group here. Just saw a BMC rider of his stature just swinging round to join the fun here. 13.9 to go, and we will be on the Poggio before you know it. What an end game we've got today after a desperate time in the saddle. It's these three up front. Still they look at each other here. Chavanel uninterested.
Well, he must be up for it. The Russian national champion, he's taken the cling film off his helmet now.
There you go, fresh as a daisy. I told you he was keeping it fresh. As we look back, it's now a yawning gap to that trio.
Seconds.
That is big. Now somebody's going to have to pick this up. It's been such a long day in the saddle here. I just wonder whether there's problems for some. Sagan, incidentally, was down there on the left-hand side of the road. We're declaring this is our chasing group at the moment, but and Sky have reformed themselves here. I wonder who they're going to drag back into position.
I'm almost certain he won't have made it back up to this group there. They're putting themselves into position for the Poggio, which is just around the corner now, 3.2 k's away from it at the front trio of riders. Only two riders from Canada riding on the front, a couple of guys from France just behind them, but I don't think that they're aiding this chase. It has come down to 18 seconds. The advantage of the two Canada riders is that their job can be done at the bottom of the Poggio. The trio up front here, Sylvain Chavanel just taking his rain cape off. If I was him, he's just done that, thrown that on the side of the road. No point in trying to hold on to that when you're in with a chance of winning one of the 5 monuments of cycling. But these three, not only have they got to go hard up to the climb, they've also obviously got to make it over the top. The guys chasing behind, they can go absolutely flat out, job done at the bottom of the Poggio, and that's why we might see a slight difference in speed between the two.
I've got a feeling that Bernard Eisel fancies this for Sky. We'll see. Ian Stannard's up the road, so he's got no interest in compromising him at the moment. But if this comes together, the quick man, the Mr. Lead Out, could well do it for himself. Just a stretch of the legs here for Sylvain Chavanel.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone.
Taken his rain cape off. He's put in some extra speed. Is that just to try and inject some speed into this breakaway trio, or is that to try and get away? They're all still together at the moment.
Frankly, I think he's trying to just encourage Vorganov to do something here. He is doing.
This guy on your screens now, Johan Alfredo Francis, he must be on good form, because we saw him off the back. I think he must have been held up by that crash involving Tyler Farrar and Geraint Thomas of Team Sky, because he's made it up to that front group, and he was some way off the back when we last saw him.
Oscar Gatto is there for Vini Fantini. Or is it Rabatini, I beg your pardon? It
might be Gatto as well.
Yeah, both of those certainly capable of doing something. Good if Rabatini is there for Gatto, because he's a very good marshaller of the final climb here today. Now, they will peak on the Poggio with 6.2 kilometres to go. They're going to hit it in less than 2 now.
Oh, they're
the start of the climb. Well, they're going to make it stick. They've got to do it now. Sylvain Chavanel has been more or less anonymous today. We've called him out of this race on occasion, but he is here, and he's in the main trio up front here. These are the chasers just behind. It's a 25-second deficit. Now then, they will hit the bottom of the Poggio with 10 to go, so in 1.5 kilometres, and we're still trying to find out who it is down there for BMC, and it's Taylor Finney.
And there's Mark Cavendish in the centre of your screens now. He's
fantastic.
Got
and Sherlock's here as well.
Just to the side of him. Heinrich Hausler just behind him. A lot of very good sprinters. Taylor Finney's still there. They haven't got any teammates though. Cavendish doesn't have to work because he's got his teammate Chavanel at the front, so he's sitting quite pretty in this race. It's just the two Cannondale riders still working on the front. Has Sagan made a tactical mistake by not sticking with this trio of riders at the front?
Well, this bodes well for a very quick finish. Did you see Degenkolb in there?
I'm pretty sure he will still have been there.
I wonder what Andre Greipel is thinking right now. How I wish I was up front, because it's going to play into the hands of the quickmen unless these punchers can do something. And the drive is on to get to the foot of the Poggio first. Now then, the Poggio, the road splits and they head over to the right-hand side. I think they're actually on that right now as they will head into the climb. Little flick out of the shoulder here, encouraging Vorganov to join the fun. Stannard as well is all stripped down and ready to race. This trio then will head out and inland just by that little walled area. That split in the road, they're going to hit here in just a moment's time. Vini Fantini, bizarrely, are out front. And Sky still not.
They've got Sant'Ambrogio still there.
Yeah, another long shot today. Well, you never know. 10.3 to go. And I'm just Churlick still trying to find some space, and it's actually snuffed out here. Where is Sagan? The eternal question. There's Gilbert at the back after his efforts to try and distance himself from everybody else. Didn't quite make it. Set up time for some of Sagan's teammates here. Pippo Pozzato is also here, but very much at the back of this group with 10 to go. So 10 flat, and these guys are on the climb right now. They will be in just a few seconds' time.
Just about to turn right off this road for the start of the
Here they go. This is that split in the road we were talking about. These slowdown markers are there, but they're not going to. They're going to step up to this, step up to the marker, and it's a long way back, you know. It's a long way back, 27 seconds. Now the drive up the road goes. Vorganov at the front with Chavanel. Those three up front, and it's kickoff time a little bit further back as well. Lagerveld it is for Orica Greenedge. His more illustrious teammates are not having any fun out there today. Matt Goss and Simon Gerrans not going to be part of this, so it's let Lagerveld off the leash perhaps today. 9.5 to go, and they're holding on to these 27 seconds. How much they'll have off the back of it is anyone's guess. It's a very, very quick descent, and then they will have 3 kilometres of flat sprinting to be dealt with, and Gilbert picks it up at the front, is it?
Astana, one of the national champions of Astana, just ahead. I think that's another sprinter there whose name Benati, sorry, in second place. Stannard goes on the attack. He does. He tries to take something out of this early. This is going to be a long run in for Ian. If he can get over the top, this will be amazing. It'll be 6.2 to go at the peak. Vorganov has blown. He's got Chavanel. It's Chavanel versus Stannard. Are they going to work together here? Vorganov goes back with Chavanel. Well, he'd been looking back as if he was waiting for Mark Cavendish. He's kept something in reserve, perhaps. Ian Stannard, the British champion there, with the red, white and blue stripes dead centre of his helmet, and still they check back. 27. That's the Ukrainian champion on the front for Astana at the moment. That is Andrei Grivko doing a terrific turn up front. Oh, there's a lot of very tired men in this group here, but 2 men who look reasonably fresh out front with 9 to go and 26. It's holding station right now. Christoph is there as well from Katusha. He's done a fantastic ride in Norwegian. He thinks that he's still got a... Oh, Vorganov's just coming back. He can't quite make it back onto Stewart, but Zato is still up. There's a lot of... Here we go then. Who's that? Is that Gasparotto? I don't think it is. Iglinski maybe. I think it is Iglinski. Yeah, Maxim Iglinski for Kazakhstan going for it here. He's tried to go off the nose. Maxim Iglinski out of the saddle, trying to drive away. Well, is it time to bide your time here with 8.7 to go? I suggest not. Out front, Chavanel it is with Stannard. Chavanel, as he tried to get the drive on, almost lost the front end of his machine here. Here we go. He's going to crest right now, and then it's the run for home for these two. Can they possibly make it? 7 to go. Stannard's obviously afraid of Chavanel's sprint. I think of the two, as Paolini goes as well, but it's too late. Mind you, Iglinski's getting caught. Iglinski is getting caught, and he's not 15 seconds down. Luca Paolini has kicked off. He's got some amazing speed here. He goes straight past Iglinski, says see ya, and Paolini is on the chase here. Used the motorcycle as well. He realises the danger. Nobody else can respond after such a long day. 6.7 to go. Sylvain Chavanel and Ian Stannard are up front. We'd love to see him. Here comes Sagan. Pozzato, he's kicked off. All of the big favourites up there. Oh, quality will out. But is it all too late? Cancellara's there, so is Pippo Pozzato, and so is Churlick. Phenomenal, 6.6 to go. Out front, it's Ian Stannard at the moment. He's doing the pacing for Sylvain Chavanel at the moment. He's got to break him here, because he's not going to beat Chavanel in a sprint. Look at this. Churlick at the back, then Cancellara, then Pozzato, then Sagan and Paolini all together. A group of 5 quality riders. Come on, says Sagan. Sagan, if you want to be part of this, you've got to do it now. Oh, Meanwhile, out front, it's Stannard and Chavanel, and they're all arguing amongst themselves. And there goes Sagan. He's kicked off. He's decided to go and chase on to Cancellara, who has just left them behind. Cancellara with the flashes of the camera in front of him. Are they just behind them? I think they got them in sight. Not quite, 6.2 to go. Unbelievable stuff. Cancellara is now going to try and time trial himself here. Sagan can't respond. Oh, this is amazing stuff. Absolutely. Pippo Pozzato at the back looks like he hasn't got much left. And Chavanel goes. Here are our leaders, Chavanel and Stannard. Very close, and they're 5 seconds. The descent. 5 seconds, the gap between the leading duo and that very select group of 5 riders behind the bunch. In fact, not too far behind that. Mark Cavendish still a part of this main bunch. This is all going to come down to the wire.
Absolutely to the wire. Now don't forget, once they're off this ramp here, it is 3 kilometres to home, but they've got all of these hairpins to be dealt with. There is Sagan nosing at the front here, just in front of Cancellara. Churlick also in the mix here. Churlick in the yellow, Cancellara dead centre of that chasing trio here, but out front it's Chavanel and Ian Stannard. Hugging the wall, just trying to avoid the standing water here. It's these pair now. Watch the corner that they've just exited from. It's not as close as you think. Hairpins here are the problem, and Sagan has the confidence here. Now then, can he do a catching game on his own? There's the gap.
All about who's willing to take the most risks down this descent, and Sagan, Cancellara, two of the best descenders in cycling. Who's this guy coming up on the back here? We've got another pursuer another guy in lone pursuit behind this group of 4. I think these guys are going to catch the front duo now.
Well, it was not day.
3K
too big.
Bottom.
Here we go. 5 to go then. 5 kilometres only, and it's Chavanel out front with Ian Stannard, but they're not. The camera tells a lie here. It's foreshortened the distance. These pairing here are going to get caught here, and it's Sagan that's on their tail. Cancellara is in rest-up position at the moment. He's going to follow Sagan all the way. Churlick's also involved. Stannard gets out of the saddle, but I think it's a forlorn sight for them. And Sagan with Cancellara and Churlick. I think it's going to come from these 5 now. Goodness me, how many times have we changed our minds today? The weather's chopped and changed as well. 4.6 to go. And joining them, I'm desperate to know who it is.
Paolini. Well, Paolini's a part there, but there's another guy just a little way behind that group of 4. It does look like it's going to come together. Paolini, let's not forget, has not got a bad sprint himself. He won the Omloop Het Nieuwsblad just around about a month ago, possibly a little bit, well, yeah, no, almost exactly a month ago, possibly a little bit less than that. This group about to come together now, just 3-4 seconds between the 2 groups.
Away he goes, Chavanel trying to do the escape job right now. 4.1 to go. He's got a little bit of a ramp, but this is going to all come together, and I think Mark Cavendish is amongst that group as well. Has he managed to rest up? Has Chavanel burnt himself? Ian Stannard possibly, most certainly. Hard to pick either of those 2 when you've got Sagan and Cancellara and Churlick here as well. This is unbelievable finale to what has been a grisly old day today. They come round one of the cuts here. It's helicopters only. The motorcycle's doing a great job of staying away from these guys. And it's still Chavanel and Stannard. But here comes Sagan and Cancellara just on their tail at the moment. 3.7 to go.
The problem Sagan's going to have as they come towards the seafront here, if this group of 6 is together, they all know that he is the fastest. And it could be a case of similar to Mark it's one of the Skyrise.
That's not what you want.
Puccio.
That is how tough it is, and that's the end of his day. 3.5 to go, and Chavanel still there, Stannard, but look, there's Sagan, lurking as he is, like an assassin at the moment. There's Cancellara just behind him. You've got Paolini as well here in this group. Not bothered about this, sad as it is, but further out front, this is where we need to be. Who's your money on?
They've got half a kilometre before they reach the last flat part, and then it's 2.85 kilometres to finish. A few corners. I mean, you can't bet against Sagan here, but as I said, I think the other riders aren't going to take him to the line, and that's the disadvantage that he's under.
Churlick also involved here. He's a very quick man on his day. We don't know how much deficit there is in the legs here, how much they've left behind on what has been an extraordinarily difficult day to call, and indeed a difficult day for these guys to ride. And Stannard kicks again, and this is a great plucky performance by Ian Stannard, but Sagan's on his case here and looks fresh. That's doom for everyone, surely.
Beats Sagan just coming up to the back wheel of the British national champion Ian, or is he? He's not quite getting there. Ian Stannard, yeah, just pulled over. Right, now this is a game of cat and mouse. Are they going to work? Is the peloton going to come up from behind? Because if they start stalling now, if they start looking at each other, that peloton is not that far behind. Sagan knows that. He also knows he's got the fastest sprint, so he's the one that goes off in front of them.
He's also got the freshest legs, and he goes off and drags Cancellara with him. Wants an injection of pace. He's got to have something in reserve. He must know that. Paolini there, also Churlick. Cancellara weaves over to the side of the road, 2.2 to go. It's Sagan, the red-hot shoe-in, 5-star favourite, according to Cancellara at the head of this race. at the moment. Those two, the main contenders as we speak right now, but do not count out Gerald Cholik in the gold here. He's resting up. Paolini goes to the front right now, and Stannard decides to mix it up. Stannard's going to go for a long one, and why wouldn't he? You guys just busy watch each other, and I'm going to have a crack here with 1.8 to go. Ian Stannard, the British champion, goes out there. Big gritted teeth from Cancellara here. Oh, this is fantastic. Will Chavanel find something?
Sagan hasn't got it.
Oh, I don't think he hasn't. Stannard's got off here, and Cancellara tries to chase him down. 600 metres to go. He'll be under the Flamme Rouge, and nobody can respond. And Stannard's found something magical here as he takes that right-hander. Where is Chavanel? Oh, Potato can't respond either. 1.4 to go as they come into town. Is this going to be a massive victory here? Oh, whoever takes it, it will be. Stannard's still out front. He's still gapped them. What's Sagan got? Surely he has something left. They drift, they take that corner. 1.3 now. We're waiting for the Flamme Rouge, and still, slowly but surely, they get back on. And it is Sagan who just comes that little bit edging further forward. Oh, what a heartbreak. Now then, Stannard still on the front at the moment. It's Sagan just behind him. Cholik there. I think Cholik's possibly got a starter's favourite amongst this lot right now. Just depends on what Sagan's got left. Under the Flamme Rouge they come. The last kilometre of what has been a punishing, cruel day. Ian Stannard up front. He knows he's a sitting duck here. Sagan has a look over his shoulder. Cholik looks very, very focused here in that wasp-like yellow, gold and black here.
What can anyone do against Peter Sagan?
Who's going to step up?
Is Cancellara going to go for another long one? Who's got the legs left? That's the only question who can answer now.
Round they come, these last series of bends. Now then, it's all about the sprint. There is Cholik, there is Stannard. Stannard has another kick here. He's got nothing left. Straight back into the saddle. And there is Sagan. Sagan just tracking him at the moment. Cholik all over the back of him. There is Fabian Cancellara. Paolini's also involved. When are they going to light it up? There's nothing left of the road here. They're within sight of the finish. You can see the barriers. The crowds have turned up, and they've turned up to see the victor. Who's it going to be? Chavanel goes from very long way out. Sagan tries to respond, and here comes Cholik towards the line. Cholik in the gold. There's Sagan as well, and I think it is going to be Cholik. I can't believe it. Cholik's going to come through. Sagan kicks back. Oh, Cholik takes it ahead, I think, of Cancellara, and Sagan in third place. What a result that was! Unbelievable racing. Well, the minor places are up for grabs here, but that was one heck of a kick there from Cholik. Oh, the man in the gold and the black, and what a result it is for Kabeka. That was stunning. It's a charitable organisation, let's not forget, and they have come good on this enormous monument. Cholik, the champion. Amazing. Well, I'm absolutely done, and I suspect these guys are as well. That was outstanding. Gerald Cholik, winner of the 104th Milan-San Remo. Chapeaus. Well, here's the end game. Stannard had been very brave, but he ran out of road here. In fact, unfortunately for him, there were some talented sprinters behind him. Sagan, it was not to be him. Cholik, of these guys, clearly the quickest, but just what was the deficit? Chavanel went early, and Cholik just got onto his wheel, staying very, very cool. Sagan, the red-hot favourite before this all started, and Fabian Cancellara also in the frame here, dead centre of your screen. The man in the gold and the black has struck gold here. An unbelievable performance from one of the minor teams. Amazing. Cholik is our winner. I think it's Sagan in second place ahead of Fabian Cancellara. A photo for those two, but no doubt about the man who has come to the fore here. Talent will out, and that was quite outstanding.
In second place,
what a drive
Peter
for home. Unbelievable. Peter Sagan carrying the burden as red-hot favourites here. Fabian Cancellara had given him that nomic, but Cholik had the belief, had the power, and had the timing at the end of a very, very long day. Bravo. Cholik ahead of Peter Sagan, Fabian Cancellara.